You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Guys, it's your host, Brian Fullerton here. And guys, we actually have another great guest for you guys for today's show. We have none other than Mike Gunn. Mike, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, buddy? Happy to be here, man.
Amen, dude. We'll get it done with Gunn, right? So here we're gonna.
That's right, dude.
We're gonna get this podcast done. We've actually been trying to line this up for a couple months ago. I reached out to you and said, "Dude, I need to get you on the show," and we were both all in on that. And then COVID hit, life hit, the season hits, and then it's August, right? So it's been a busy couple months. But for some people know you, some people don't know you. You have a lawn and landscape company. You're over in Indiana. You have a really good presence on social media with YouTube and Instagram. And so this is going to be a fun podcast. We were just kind of spitballing some ideas before we hit record button. And I'm like, dude, you have like a really cool story. Like you're trying to dial the business in, find your niche, find your stride. You've been doing this for a decade too, like myself, which is super cool. So you're not like the new guy, but you're still learning new things every day, you know?
Every day, yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be really fun. So let's do this. I'll just give it away to you for a quick minute. Why don't you guys get these guys up to speed about who you are, where you're at, and what your business is kind of looking at right now?
Sure, yeah. So Mike Gunn, Get It Done With Gunn. That's how I'm known on the social media platform. But I've been in business for 10 years, but like you said, you know, every single day I'm learning something new.
Yeah.
We're not learning and we're dying, right? But 10 years in, you know, I've learned a lot. Still learning a lot. Full service lawn and landscape business. We also do installs, anything from just smaller planting installs all the way up to massive paver patio projects. So yeah, I'm kind of across the board. And I think that's what we were going to get into probably here today is I'm assuming we will just the fact that I need to niche down right now. You know, I'm at the point in my life where I've got 3 kids. I got a family depending on me and they want to see me as well and get the best of my brain just like the business does. And, you know, the first few years in there, you're just all gung-ho about it. And that's how I was at least. And if you're, you know, it's just getting to the point now where I guess I'm not as passionate as I used to be about actually what we're doing out there, but more about where it's going to take me in my life here and you know, with the financial side of it and all that too.
That's awesome, bro. Well, we were just talking about that. Some people are excited about the process. Some people are excited about the result. And it's funny. The longer I've been doing this, the more I'm still passionate about what I do, but I am become way more passionate about the outcome. Like, hey.
Well, I mean, here's the thing too, is like, you may be passionate about what you do, but at some point, you know, you got to make some money as well, right? Or else that passion won't stay there. Yeah. You'll be out there beating the streets and hustling all day long, but you kind of go home wondering what the heck you're doing it for.
Dude,
you know?
For sure. Well, I'm not here to run a non-for-profit. I'm not at that season of my life yet. Amen. So we still need to have a profitable business for Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Well, let's do this. We're going to hear from a quick show sponsors, which is my Launchpreneur Academy company. That's all of our digital downloads and training programs and website that we have for you guys. It's just a tremendous resource for the industry to help you guys get started with a lawn and landscape company. We have commercial contracts, tons of great training programs that can help get you guys up to speed quick. So we're going to do this. We're going to hear from Launchpreneur Academy, and then we're going to dive deep with Mike Gunn.
Have you ever thought about starting your own lawn and landscaping business, but not sure where to start? Look no further than LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com, an e-training website dedicated to helping you start and grow a successful lawn care business. Save more time and make way more money by learning exactly what it takes to grow your business to the next level. Invest in your future by first investing in yourself. Use promo code PODCAST to save 10% on all training programs today at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. Now, back to the show.
Awesome. Well, it's always great having Launchpreneur Academy sponsor the show. And I'll tell you guys what, the training programs are making a huge difference in your guys' lives. A lot of you guys have been picking up the fall aeration and overseed training program. I see a lot lately as we go into aeration season this fall. And then I'm already starting to see a lot of you guys purchase the How to Get Started Plowing Snow training program, which is one of my favorites as well. I love making that snow money, that white gold. You know what I'm saying, Mike? So
that's right.
Tis the season, man. So if you guys haven't checked those out yet, tremendous asset. at launchpreneuracademy.com. Look, I know we've got 650 YouTube videos, and if you want to learn about snow plowing, we probably have one on that. But the training programs, guys, they're all meat. There's no, hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel and like, comment, subscribe. It's no. It's like, hey guys, get your notepad out, get your notebook open. Let's talk numbers. Let's talk how to price. Let's talk how to make money, which kind of parlays right into what you were talking about, making money and being profitable, Mike. But hey, listen, before we jump into it, bro, we got to back up a little bit, because what some people don't know context is like, dude, you just had your third baby like 2 weeks ago. So congratulations to you, man. Like, big round of applause. That's so cool. Boy, girl, what did the wife do all the work? So anyway.
Well, I'm still not quite sure yet whether it's a boy or a girl. No, I'm just kidding. It's a girl.
Did it pick its pronouns yet, or how does that work? You know,
right? Yeah, it's a girl.
2020.
She's awesome. You know, obviously only a couple weeks old. Still a long way to go, but I've got a 8-year-old and a 6-year-old as well.
That's awesome.
And
dude.
they're eating it up, man. You know, to see their interactions with her.
Yeah,
it's really life changing. You know, every time you have a kid, it's kind of a slap in the face, like, oh crap, you know, do you have your life together? Because, you know, it's not about you anymore.
Right.
That, you know, it's now all about them, right? Your kids. And they're depending on you. That's all they know is what you're going to show them, you know, for the next 18 years. So
that's awesome.
You know, they won't be dating until they're like 35 or 40 anyways, right? So, yeah.
Well, you know, hopefully they're not coming back at 26, 28 years old, right? We've all done that before. So that's awesome, man. So you got boy, girl, you were just saying, right?
Yeah. Yep, that's right. Yeah.
So all my sports fans out there, he went from playing zone or man to man. Now he's playing zone. You know what I mean? So
now I'm playing Barbies. Yeah.
Dude, good for you, man. Liz and I, like, we can't wait to start a family. And anytime people around us have like babies and kids, we're like, oh my god, that's so awesome. Like, we just want to like play. Here's us lately. We want to play with your kids, because the first 4 years or 5 years of us being together, like Liz and I were like, we want to grow our businesses. But anytime our friends had kids, we're like, yo, we can't wait to play with your kids. But then, as you know, Mike, once they start fussing or they start whining or misbehaving, I'm like, yo, you need to take your kid back. You know, like once it has a poopy diaper, that's on you.
So, well, I mean, think about how that relates to business too. You know, your business are your kids, right? They're your passion. You're obsessed over them. You know, you want them to be the biggest, baddest, greatest they can be, and it's the same way with kids. You know,
that's a great analogy. Yeah. In the beginning,
like running the business.
in the beginning, all of it does is whine, complain, poop all over itself, and
exactly,
and doesn't do anything.
Nowhere with it.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything productive, right?
Send it back.
yeah, send it back. Why did I do this, right? And then when they're like 6 and 7 years old, they're in like that cool, fun age where you can like, you know, like do fist bump and yeah, I can't wait to have kids and just it sounds weird, but like program them to like say funny things and like have practical jokes, like you know, have running up to people and saying like, you know, recycling is a scam, and just, I can't wait to put fun stuff into my kid's brain. But anyway, whole nother story for another day. We'll do a parenting podcast later. You know, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah,
we'll get some tips from the man himself. But well, let's do it full circle. Let's take it to the Lawn and Landscape Company. I'm gonna let you take it away. So how did you get started in the industry? I'm sipping my Tim Hortons coffee. It's like lukewarm, so it's like my favorite temperature. So I'm gonna suck this down. But you take it away. Let these guys know how you got started in the business, how you got started in the industry, because you've been doing this for what you said, 10 years now.
Oh yeah, and like I always say, like my dad literally threw me on a tractor when I was a year and a half. You know, barely could walk,
Sure.
And here I am out here on the farm. You know, on this old junky lawn tractor. You know, just tooling around in the yard. And, you know, I grew up around farm tractors and all that, and Dad was always out in the shop, you know, fixing, repairing something. He always says he can fix anything except for a broken heart, and he can make it feel better.
Oh,
and I, you know, still the truth today. He does all my maintenance and everything. But like growing up in that scenario, and then having two grandfathers, you know, obviously, one that was a carpenter, and then one that was an artist, like a professional artist. So I kind of mixing all that together with digging holes out in the yard and finding kind of my niche in the artistic side of things, and realizing that, hey, look, you know, I'm actually good at something rather than kicking a soccer ball around the yard. You know, I really found that I could shine with that. So moving on up through my teens, you know, kind of got started with music and more of that artistic side. And then I went to college Kind of skipping ahead there. Before I went to college, out of high school, I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. I was, every day, you're obsessed with wondering, oh my gosh, I got to pick this one career for the rest of my life. And
Right.
I have no idea what that is. I was thinking about going to this place in Florida called Full Sail, for music production or something like that. And that was super expensive. And coming from a home where we didn't have a lot of money growing up, it wasn't really the most feasible option, out there. And I'm not going to say I did the best in high school either, because, I just didn't care. I didn't see the point in what I was being thrown versus information. That bold-headed kid is like, yeah, I got this.
Yep.
So,
were you an athlete? Did you play sports too, or?
No, I was like in the marching band. I was the band geek, man.
That's
and the
okay.
jazz band and all that, and I played bass guitar, saxophone, drums. I played it all. Like, yeah,
you got a
that was my world.
Good old fashioned Mike Bedell over here. He plays bass. Some people don't know that.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think at some point in time we all need to get together when the GIE does actually happen.
Just shred it out.
Just put a little, just get out there in the parking lot and jam.
That would be awesome, bro. But Bedell, a lot of people don't know that Bedell had long hair. I mean, like past his shoulders, like long hair. Can you imagine Mike Bedell, bro? Like,
we talked a little bit about it, and he was telling me, I was like, dude, I literally cannot see that.
He showed me photos, and I'm like, who is that person? Because that is not Mr. It's squared off, topped up, clean cut, Mr. Businessman, hanging with Troy Clogg, kind of guy. And then he pulls out his bass. Well, I can't even say it right. He pulls out his bass guitar and he starts shredding it, and he's like, and I'm like, what is this, like the Iron Maiden here? Like, who is this guy? And I don't know, but anyway, so you were a marching band guy. Did you what instrument, or what did you play, or what did you guys do? Were you like all in on that, or how'd that go?
Yeah, so I played the alto saxophone in the marching band, and then the jazz band was like my true passion, because the cool kids were in the jazz band.
Yeah,
I played soprano sax there, which at the time I was like, yeah, I'm the only soprano sax player, in a pretty big school in Noblesville there, and so that was my life. And then I got into different rock bands and stuff in school, and you are the average of the company you keep, right? And during that time, I was hanging out with all the guys that were wearing the skinny jeans, and the black t-shirts, the hot topic attire, and my wife and I joke now.
No way.
Her and I dated in, 8th grade through freshman year of high school, the first time.
Okay.
And then I kind of went into this whole punk scene and fell off the bandwagon,
Yeah.
All that. I never was a bad kid. Like, I was pretty, not sheltered as a child, but, mom never let me get away with much,
Right.
but she let me wear the stupid attire and just let me go through that phase. So I've always been like, that's my thing, is like, it's been the worst of me and the best of me, is I've always had this addictive personality of whatever I get into, I'm just completely all in 100%.
That's awesome, dude.
And, and it's a blessing, and it's also just the opposite at the same time.
Were you wearing like the AC/DC shirts, or were you wearing like the Pink Floyd shirts, or were you like Good Charlotte, like the Good Charlotte people?
The bands that I were in were like the screamo bands, and like I never really cared for the music, but that's like my buddies were into it, So I was like, all right, well, we'll roll with that, So
that's funny, bro. Like, we heard Red for the first time, and we had no idea that they're actually like kind of like a Christian band. And I was like, dude, I can't do this kind of stuff. Like, I had friends into that, and I'm like, what the heck, bro, is this? And they're like, dude, this is awesome. I'm like, I'm gonna go back to the Blueprint with Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Because I was a white trash kid, just listening to the rap, and that was my cup of tea. And
that's the funny thing, is a lot of those bands, like screamo bands, a lot of them are Christian-based bands.
They are. Like, I was listening to a song the other day, came on my Pandora, and it was just like this, crazy rock, like song. And I looked down, I'm like, who is this? And it's Skillet. And I was like, what? I'm like, this is Skillet, bro? Like, and I know Skillet, but I was just laughing. I'm like, dude, I don't buy all their albums, but I was just like, dude, this is crazy, bro. But yeah, who would have thought, man? I guess they all got to get it out too, But so you were you, so outside of playing the saxophone, a little Homer Simpson plug there. So you were going into college. What did you go for college then? You said you had a stint there, or did you graduate?
Yeah, in between high school there and when I finally decided on a route for college, I went to work at Meyer, which I think you guys got there, Meyer up there too.
Yeah.
But I went to work there, third shift, and this was like during the last part of high school, third shift, going into work at 9 p.m. and getting off at 7 and then going straight to school, that kind of lifestyle there for a minute.
Wow.
And
tough.
I met a gal there, and we dated for a while, and she was going to Ball State at the time. And so I used to hang out with her, and a lot of my buddies were going to Ball State too, and we used to hang out. And that's where I really got this itch. I was like, okay, I'm young and dumb and stupid, and I think that, my only way out of this town is to go to school and figure out what I want to do with my life. And during that time, when I was working at Meyer, I met a gal who was neighbors with a guy that had a lawn care and snow removal company.
Okay.
So long story short, I went out and randomly in the winter, pushed some snow with him, like shoveling the sidewalks, I was totally the grunt.
Yeah.
And riding around in the truck with him. And he had a partner at the time, and ended up going to work for them that summer and just fell in love, like kind of re-fell in love with lawn care and landscaping and all that, because growing up, I was always kind of around it and always kind of had a knack for it, but just didn't understand that, I could actually do this for a living someday. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's so cool, man. A lot of guys get started when they're younger, and then it's like they I don't know if like we just like you said, that addictive personality, but also the I don't say like we're pretty like independent spirited people. A lot of us like we I don't say like we can't work for lawn care land or for other people, I should say, but dude, we can't work for other people. Like we're just I don't know if we're just it's you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to articulate it, but it
gets in your blood. It's like and maybe that's, I don't know. Like I've never been able to, I've always wanted to do my own thing.
Yeah.
Like even today, I was just like, I want to do my own thing. Don't tell me what to do.
Leave me alone.
I got this. I'm totally open to learning. I read books and listen to audiobooks all the time. I'm addicted to learning as well, but like, I don't know. I just always had my own thing. So when I was at Meyer there and I went to work for this lawn care company, from day one, I was like, I want to do my own business here, because when I was working at Meyer, I ended up doing the stupid thing of just walking out there because I couldn't stand it, It just wasn't for me. And so I started working for this company, and they were a small company, and I really saw that camaraderie, between all of us.
Sure.
And just had a ball working with them. I mean, enjoying every single day. They did nothing. It was all commercial accounts with them.
Okay.
I want to say like 90%, all HOAs and commercial work. So I was on the mowing crew with them, and we would just go out and mow grass and in the truck, talk shop and just have a good time. And I was like, man, this is where it's at. I really enjoy this. And I enjoyed doing the landscaping side of it too, because they dabbled in that and I really shined with that. And, they gave me some things here and there where it, really could show my skills, which I didn't have at the time, but, it's all perception. So, I decided.
Well, I was going to say, was it like a bigger company or like a small mom and pop, like 2-guy team, or
at the time, it's all relative, but at the time to me, they were a small company, but they were pretty big at the same time. We had about 10 guys, I think.
Yeah.
Cause I used to work in the summers. I'd come back from school and work with them, and they grew pretty rapidly.
Sure.
10 guys, a couple trucks, 3 or so to be exact, So it's relatively speaking, they were small, but when they used to talk about their numbers, we grossed 500,000 this year, and or you'd say $500,000 or whatever. I'm thinking, damn, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when you're like a 22, 23-year-old kid. That's you kind of makes you turn your head.
Well, yeah, and you don't understand everything that goes into that, right? At that time, you're thinking, gross or whatever. You don't know the meanings behind that. They're like, man, there's a lot of money to be made in this industry.
Yeah, sure. Well, I was listening to Paul Jameson's podcast, and he's got like a bunch of great guest interviews as well. And he had a young kid named Zach, I think is his name, and he worked for like a top 50 or top 100 company over on the East Coast. And he was like learning all their numbers as he's an employee for them, and he's got he's got a good job for them, but his intent is to branch out and start his own business. And even if he gets started at 26 or 27 years old, people might be like, well, if you don't start at 20, you're like 7 years behind. But honestly, bro, like working for somebody else for a year or two, it could save you 10 or 15 years of heartache and bad pricing and value and skill set. So I think that's a great opportunity for some of these young guys listening in. Maybe you can't afford to start a lawn and landscape company. Maybe you have too many obligations with work or school or church or, a spouse. cool, no big deal. But you can still go work for somebody and keep learning these skill sets until you can make that jump. Like kind of like what you were doing. So you got your feet wet in the industry way before you started your own business.
Right. Yeah. And gaining that confidence too. Cause when you're out of high school, you're so used to being told what to do and have these regiment schedules that you have to stick to. And
sure,
you don't realize that, in your own household, the way you do things within your family is not necessarily the same way everybody else does things too. So when you go to school and maybe the first couple of years out of school, you can really gain some independence and realize, what works for you individually rather than just, what mom and dad's always told you, So,
yeah. Oh yeah. No, I like the sampling mindset that Gary Vee talks about. Like if you're 20, 21, 22, even like 18, 19, like go sample a couple things, like go work a retail job, go work a sales job, go on a bus with 3 of your buddies and go tour the country for 6 weeks for, go to 4 concerts, 4 shows in 4 cities and just like experience a little bit of life. I kind of like that just so people can get a bigger perspective on the world, because I don't know about you, but it seems like you grew up in kind of like small town Indiana. I grew up in the burbs, but it's still like kind of a small town. And I didn't even go 20 minutes west to like our big mall until I was like 19 years old. Like I was just such a, just small worldview, and knowing what I know today, I'm like, man, I would tell people to go out, experience, learn things, go work for somebody else. Even if it's not your end all, that's fine, but go work for somebody else for a year and learn a bunch of stuff. I mean, I super appreciate those experiences,
Yeah, where I grew up in Noblesville, like it was small town at the time I was growing up, but now it's like massive. It's it's 30 minutes north of Indianapolis, and Noblesville,
sure.
Carmel, and Fishers, and this whole county is extremely well off, wealthy. Just a lot of individuals around here, and the people I went to school with. I was kind of the farm boy kid, out on the ranch or whatever, and I didn't really ever fit in with all the suburban folks, at the time. But once I went to school, I went down to Vincennes University, and I knew I wanted to go into landscaping, so I went to school for horticulture and landscape design.
Oh wow!
With like small business intermingled in there.
Nice.
And so that's when I really found myself. You know what I mean? I got away from home and really discovered what I was passionate about, personally and with a career, because I always felt like at the time, like I had to pick one and just go with it for the rest of my life, which is absolutely not the case,
Right.
But at the time when everybody else and all your buddies from school are going to college and picking these careers and dumping, $100,000 on their degree, you just think, well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And like now, like jumping forward now, like I totally wouldn't suggest going that route as far as dumping money on a degree when you're not really quite sure what exactly it is you're going to be passionate about for the rest of your life, So
did you?
But
well, let me ask you this: with your lawn and landscape degree, was it an associate's or a bachelor's, or how does that work?
So it was an associate's at Vincennes and in horticulture and landscape design, which the degree was through Purdue.
Cool.
It's like a satellite school, the knockoff brand,
Well, hopefully at a discounted price, you know what I'm saying? But
exactly, that was the point. Yeah,
I always ask people like how they liked the college experience learning lawn and landscaping or horticulture design, landscape design work. Because my friend Mike Bedell, he went to college. I think Nathan Fox with Foxscapes. We did a great interview with him, and he like completed 80% of the program, and then he just quit. He was like, "Yo, I'm out.
Right.
I'm too busy. I know enough. I already came here for what I wanted. I didn't go there for the degree. He came there to learn." Right. And when he was like, "Yo, I've already got the skill set that this program is going to get me to," he wasn't chasing the degree, so he just left. He, like after 18 months or something like that. But I always wonder because I get that question a lot from the younger kids, like, should I go to college for 18 months to 2 years? And I'm always like, well, I didn't go, but if you want to go, that's fine. Just make sure you're going for the education, not the degree.
Yeah, and I don't want to alter anybody's decision and what they feel best for them, because ultimately they know the answer, But
sure,
like I suggest to people that talk to me about that now is like, listen, for me, what worked is like I went to school and earned my independence. I understand now myself better, and a lot of deep thought and conversations with kids down there and just buddies that are lifelong friends now. But ultimately, in business, like I didn't learn anywhere near what I needed to know. After I got out of school, I went and worked for a couple other businesses just to kind of get some different feel for different sides of the industry. And when I first started my business, like I still had no clue what it took to run a business, but I was forced to learn, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And when you're in that scenario, and money's on the line, families on the line, like you learn so much more than you would sitting in a classroom. At least for me, like I'm a hands-on guy.
No, dude,
and for me to get out there and do it and fail, I'll learn from that mistake more than I would, a teacher teaching me plants in the classroom,
100%. That it goes back to like this young man, Nathan. He came over and did this podcast. He was like, "Yo, I'm learning in school nights and weekends, but he's like, I'm doing this 8 to 5 every day." And so he took the classroom learning, applied it same day or the next day, right, into his business. But then when he didn't see like that benefit still coming in, he made the decision to graduate from that program, not with a degree, but he's like, "Yo, I'm out." But I'm always curious to hear people's experiences, like you said, because get what you can out of the programs, or go work for somebody else and learn those life lessons. But I like what you just said there is like, even if you are learning business and even if you're learning landscaping, unless you're like doing it, it's just head knowledge, in my opinion. And I've always heard people say like, if you want to be an investor and learn how the markets really work, go put $100 or $1,000 in the market. And, start small, start with $100, but then when you get a gain of 10% because something went up, like you'll start learning and asking questions, why? And then when you lose money, that's why I said put $100, not 1,000. But if you put $100 in and it goes down to 80 in its first week, well, now you're going to start learning how to not lose money. And so these lessons become more real to you because you have some skin in the game, And so I think I like the approach of shadowing somebody and modeling after somebody and getting mentored by a company, even if it's I go back to this kid Zach on Paul's podcast. He was super transparent with the company that he's like, "Hey, I'm only going to be here for," I don't know what he was implying, but maybe 2 to 5 years. He was like, "Hey, I'm only going to be here for a window, and I'm going to learn as much as I can, help you guys grow your company and what you're hiring me to do," because he has real responsibilities. But it was really exciting to hear his mindset, like, "Hey, I'm going to sell out to you, but I want you guys to know that I want you to educate me, teach me." I'd almost take less pay for more experience, like one of
right. But what a great opportunity for that business as well, because they know they're going to hire somebody that's actually passionate
that's
about
hungry.
what they're doing,
Great partnership. I mean, 100%. I mean, if somebody said to me like, "Hey dude, I want to learn the industry and I'll give you 3 years of my best, but then I'm going to do my own thing." I'm like, "Bro, I'll teach you everything that you need to know in 3 years that I can teach you. And then if you want to graduate from here and go start your own thing, dude, I'm all about that life. One, whatever I can do to help you grow. Number two, that's like great labor and hopefully reliability. But number three, bro, that's a bigger network. Maybe I've got a new subcontractor,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Lord knows we all need good help and to grow our network. So, no, this is really, really good. So then you graduated with your degree, and then did you go immediately into business for yourself, or did you have like a season after that, or what, because you're probably 22, 24 years old by then?
Yeah, 22 or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually went on to Indiana State because I was just kind of following my other buddies, as a group, we were going to go to Indiana State. I was like the next level to get your bachelor's, and started off with a degree in fine arts and graphic design because I always kind of had a knack for that, and I kept rolling with that. But in the meantime, my wife today, we started dating at that time. And I always say she kind of saved me, right? Because I was starting to go down this road of just a lot of different things that weren't going to take me very far in life, right? With that addictive personality and all that. So going to Indiana State, I quickly, the realization came to me, and maybe there was some input from my wife now. And listen, what are you doing here? You're spending mega dollars for this degree, and you don't even know really where it's going to take you. And so first year in there, I actually dropped out and decided that's not the route I wanted to take. I came back to Noblesville and started working for a few other guys. I worked for one guy who I thought was like my hero when I first started working with him, and then you quickly realize that, this is the ultimate way not to run a business. Take notes, And so I learned a lot from him as far as the skills and the trade. We used to build like these massive water features and purely this landscape install with him. And then I realized that wasn't a good fit for just a number of reasons that I could talk for another hour about. And so then I went to work for a guy that was more local, and he was a lawn care. He's kind of all full service, and that's where I met Peg, who worked for me for 8 years as my design and estimator and accounts manager.
Oh, wow.
So I worked for her for about a year there, and then there was issues here and there with that. The owner of the business there, and when I decided to leave there, and like the final straw, because this whole time I'm building up to knowing that I want to run my own business someday, and I like this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
The final straw there was when he paid me, and he paid me in cash, and he said taxes are taken out of this. Here you go. And I'm like,
what?
Okay, look, dude, I'm not as dumb as I look here. I understand that taxes are not taken out of this cash payment when you're supposed to be writing a check and salary at that. Like that was the agreement we had, And I'm still young and dumb at the point where I didn't have a contract or anything like that with them. But that was like the final straw. I went home that weekend. I was like, I told Heather, because we had just gotten married, a couple months before that. So it was, pretty big turning point in my life.
Yeah.
And
Trying to get your life started.
I was like, this is it. And that was in the spring. So I carried through all winter with him, and then went back in the spring, and like literally the first paycheck I was supposed to get, I'm doing the air quotes, you can't see that, but the first paycheck I was supposed to get was this cash payment with taxes taken out. So like with that, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm done, working for these other guys, these other clowns. If they can do it, I can most definitely do this, because sure. I saw how they were running it. And I said to myself, I'm never going to be these characters. I don't want to be this guy I was just working for a little over a year. I don't want to be that.
Wow.
I want people to come to work every day and enjoy what they're doing, right? Because that's first and foremost, because the guys that work with you, if you don't have that, the camaraderie, I'm looking for another word, but I can't think of it.
Yeah, well, the chemistry with what you guys are, what you guys are all doing together, this vision, this common vision.
Yeah. So that was my idea, and that's kind of to go in further into the story of the first few years in business. That's why I wasn't necessarily focused on the numbers. I was just looking to enjoy what I was doing.
I like that.
And we enjoyed the heck of it. So I started the business there, and then like literally, that was right when she was pregnant with our son, our first kid.
Wow.
And so pretty big time in my life, a lot of life-changing experiences all at once. But at the time, you don't really, you don't really have any hindsight. You just think it's normal, right?
It's just day-to-day activity, you're just trying to keep punching through, dude, that's all. Well, let's do this. I want to, this is like probably a good stopping point. I'm going to get another sip of my coffee here and clear my throat. But this is good because now we're kind of at the inception of, Get It Done With Gunn, landscaping. So I'm excited about hearing that inception and that startup story. So let's do this. Let's change it up for a quick second. We'll catch our breath. We'll hear from, again, one of our show sponsors, which is the Lawntrepreneur Academy, and then we'll get right back into things.
New program alert. The How to Get New Lawn Care Customers training program is now available. If you guys have ever struggled at acquiring new customers or are looking to grow your lawn care business, then this new program might just be for you. Looking to learn the best tactics to develop a successful postcard marketing campaign? We got you covered. Have you ever wondered how to use social media to exponentially grow your business and dominate the competition? We got that too. Whether you're just getting started in business or you're a seasoned vet, there's something for everyone in this new program available now, exclusively at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. For those of you guys interested in breaking into the snow removal game, this one's for you. Now available exclusively at the LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. We've got you covered with the How to Get Started Plowing Snow training program. This powerful resource is there to help you guys learn the basics to plowing snow, what to charge, major pitfalls and mistakes to avoid, and so much more. Hands down, one of the most anticipated and helpful training programs we have available. We'll get you up to speed on how to crush it with your snow removal business in no time. Check out the training program today at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com, because before you know it, we'll be out there plowing that snow and making that dough.
Awesome. I gotta love that, man. I borrowed that one from Paul Jameson, right, Mike? So,
Yep.
Guys,
mow that grass, make that cash.
dude, mowing grass, make that cash, and plow that snow, make that dough. I'll tell you what, man. As the temperatures get a little cooler, we had a good week of 70s here this last week. It made me start thinking about fall because some of the trees had some leaves were kind of falling for different plants, and I was like, this is interesting, man. Like the buzz is in the air, the cool air is coming in, and I was like, man, I can't wait to gear up for leaf season because, in all honesty, we didn't get one last year. we had about 4 or 5 days of doing leaves last year, and it was just a bust. But then I was also thinking about plowing snow. I'm like, man, I can't wait to get out there, plow that white gold. For some of you guys that are just getting started plowing snow, here's what it was explained to me. Plowing snow is big boy club. Like, with all due respect, anybody can get a mower. Anybody can make a $200 a month payment with 7 or 8 months of cash flow coming in. Well, my sales guy back in the day, he said, plow and snow, because I was trying to finance a plow. And I said, well, why don't I get 0% for 42 on a plow? He goes, that's not how it works with plow and snow. He goes, snow, you can go belly up in 4 months and lose 10 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand. And on the upside, he goes, you can make 10 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand. And I was just like, and that's when I picked up the phone and I called my friend Mike, and we got a couple of these now infamous stories that you guys have heard about me getting with him at Black Rock and just having a stake on a stone for a couple hours each time and just going through pricing and numbers and how to do it. Well, all of those tips and guidance that he poured into me 3-4 years ago, I took all of that plus my own experiences, and we dialed that all into one distilled training program for plowing snow. It's the basics of how to do it. So if it's residential or commercial, guys, I know it's a plug for it, but I'll tell you what, $100 invested into your education could save you literally tens of thousands of dollars, or also make you tens of thousands of dollars by doing snow removal correctly. So we have the foundation in that training program. And then the other one with the how to get new customers. This is a funny story earlier, Mike. I had a guy messaging me on Instagram actually this morning, and he has a welding company, a welding business. And it goes, hey, I wanted to ask you if the how to get new customers training program would relate and translate into his industry. And I said, absolutely, bro. I said, what kind of company can't benefit from a postcard marketing campaign, a yard sign marketing campaign, a Google My Business listing, a Facebook page? What else do we talk about? Google ads, Facebook ads, flyer marketing, all this kind of stuff. And he goes, I had never considered that. And I go, well, I mean, business is business, man. It's marketing and advertising is pretty universal. Every company needs, what's one thing that all companies have in common? Customers. And I said, so not all companies are created equal, but they all have customers. And so any which way, he picked up that training program this morning, which was really fun. Can't wait to hear the feedback from that. So anyway, guys, launchpreneuracademy.com. These resources are incredible. And by the way, little plug here. I don't think we've shared this yet. We have 4 new programs coming by the end of August. So 4 new resources. I'm telling you what, I wish I had these resources 10, 12 years ago. My business and life would be entirely different today. We'd already be making a lot more, a lot sooner. So, all right. Well, that's the quick plug for launchpreneuracademy.com. Guys, appreciate the support on that. Mike, let's get back to you with your story about the inception of, is it Get It Done With Gunn Landscaping, or is it Gunn Landscaping, or what's the actual name of your company?
So name of the business is Gunn Landscaping.
Gotcha.
Name of the channel is Get It Done With Gunn. And there's some reasons behind that, why I named the channel differently than the business is because, I share some things on the channel that honestly, I don't want my customers to really see,
Amen.
So I'm a little bit more real over there, and it's not marketing the business at all. And maybe that's wrong. I don't know.
No,
I need to talk to you about that,
I think it's smart.
But
I think it's smart. I get customers that find my YouTube channel, and they're like, "You made, an $800 mulch job. You made $425 on this." I go, "Yeah,
right."
And you're waiting for that fallout, but then they go, "Dude, good for you, man. Like I see how hard you guys hustle," and I'm like, "Oh, thank Jesus." Like we dodged a bullet, but
well, and maybe it's good, because one of the reasons that I started that channel and everything was so that customers could see, or people out there that were looking to hire the services could see, all the behind the scenes, that goes into this. We're not just charging you $40 for your lawn and putting it in our pocket here.
Exactly.
There's a lot more to it. Yeah. And it's a hard business at that with the seasonality of it. It's extremely difficult.
Well, it also helps, like, if my customers do stumble upon it, I'm an open book. I mean, like, I don't care if they know what I make. And 99% of all my customers are so happy for us that we make what we make, we do, and we're not, making millions of dollars, but they're glad that we're profitable, and they see us buy new equipment, and they're the direct benefit of it. I mean, we make profit, takes care of my family, but they get the best cut with our nicest mowers and the nicest bed redefining tools or whatever. And in fact, I did a time lapse off of a person's deck yesterday, and I just did the backyard. I don't point anything at the houses from the back because I try to keep that private. But I did a GoPro on the back deck, and we were striping this beautiful lawn that I have, and I put it on Instagram, and then that translates right to Facebook. And I mean, 30 seconds in, the client goes, "We love how you stripe our lawn. You did a beautiful job today. Can't wait to see you guys next week." And it's, again, out of the 1% of 1% chance that, our customers would find our content, you never know who's watching, right? And so I was like, dude, that's so funny that, like, this is the actual customer. And she was like all about it. She's like, "Go get him, honey." And I'm like, "Thanks for letting me," like, and I'm not worried about it, but I was just laughing because you never know who's watching, man. And our customers love us, dude. Like, we have amazing customers. I'll go to the grave for my customers, but okay, so let's go back to Gunn Landscaping. So you're 22, 23, 20-ish years old. You just had your first baby. I mean, that's a lot going on right there. Was your wife, was she working? Was she like a stable source of income for you to make a transition? Or what was the dynamics of your guys' family life right then?
Yeah, so she was working, and right out of high school with her, she got a technical degree, and she's I gotta get the title right, expanded functions dental assistant. Okay. So basically, layman's term, like a surgical assistant for teeth.
So, hey, that's fair.
So she had a solid career that she was working on, and she's always been there, and obviously right now she's not, but from the beginning, definitely we were totally 100% dependent on her income, because when I started the business, obviously not only did I not have a clue to what I was doing, but all the money that it was making was going back into the business, so
sure.
In the first couple of years there with my son, I spent probably more time than I should have obsessing over the business, and not as much time with him, but making up for lost time now. But it's just, when you first start off, it's so easy to get obsessed with what you're doing, and no matter if you're cutting grass or if you're doing landscape installs or irrigation or whatever it is, because you have such a passion for it, and now it's your own, right? So there's such a passion in what you're doing on the day-to-day basis that you kind of forget. That the end of the year will be here soon, and and you've got taxes to pay and insurance and all this stuff that you need to be getting in line, and it's a lot that just gets forgotten really easily.
Yeah,
if you're not passionate about 100% of the business, which is behind the scenes, the books and all that too.
That's really good. Well, and I have those conversations a ton with folks. Like, we do coaching calls, and whatever, they're like $99 for an hour. It's a steal because the content that we always talk about, like, I had to pay thousands of dollars of time and money to accumulate some of this knowledge, and I'm like, man, you can buy somebody's brain and thoughts for $99 for an hour. You freaking kidding me? Like, it should be $499 in my opinion, but whatever. That's my way of giving back. And I thoroughly enjoy helping young guys. I was on the phone with Cal Parks for a half hour the other day talking about taxes. He shout out to Cal if he's listening, but he got way more money back on his taxes. And he's like, dude, do I have like a bad CPA or a good CPA? He's like 22 or 23. He's a babe. He's still getting his life started, And he's like, dude, do I have a bad CPA? And I'm like, well, like, what was the context? What was going on? And he's like, well, I think I overpaid. And does that mean like my CPA sucks? And I was like, no. Like, no, dude, like, here's all the different things that happened. And we had this half-hour call. And at the end of it, he was like, I didn't know all this stuff. He's like, how do you know this stuff? I go, because I've been there 10 times over,
Yeah.
And, but he's like, how much do I owe you? And I told him $69, and he started laughing, and I started laughing. So, but I didn't charge Kyle.
I've got a story about taxes too. That's pretty good.
Shoot, yeah.
Shared, but
go for it, bro.
But like when I also wanted to caveat that with when I, first several years in business, when I started to realize, okay, look, I've got a family here. We need to make some money at some point here. I got to figure this out. But like, to keep the spark alive, because at that time I was already losing the passion because I wasn't making any money, and had really nice equipment, right? And in the wintertime was racking up the credit cards just to make it through, and just didn't understand that wasn't the way you did business. I learned from some guys that when I first started off, that that's the way they ran their business, and they're out of business for a reason now.
Yep.
I didn't put two and two together at the time.
That's huge.
But I started watching, YouTube, and it was Geek the Freak, and I think Keith Telfus, and back in that day was Stu Care. Stu Care did this first video of kind of like cribs, walking through their equipment and their shop and all that. And
sure.
That really kind of relit my spark at the time, and really helped me to start gaining some more knowledge on how to run a profitable business. So I have to give some credit to. I mean, at that time it was just YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to give some credit to these guys on YouTube, sharing all the information that they can to help out the community. And
heck yeah, dude.
That's why I'm so glad to be a part of the community now, because that's all I'm doing. I'm giving back because I gained so much inspiration and knowledge in those first, several years of, what do they call it, the OGs, talking about their businesses on YouTube, that now I feel like I feel that pull to help other guys, coming up in the industry. And I feel the need to share the knowledge because, look, I mean, if I had this knowledge now that I had, if I had that when I first started off, I wouldn't have made.
You'd be dangerous.
The million mistakes. Yeah.
Dude,
so,
Mike, I'll tell you what, bro. I will totally echo with what you're saying, because I'm waiting for the 19-year-old kid or the 15-year-old kid right now that consumes all of my content and T Green's content and Stan's content and Keith's content and your content. I'm waiting for the 15, 19-year-old kid that just smokes all of us.
Dude, look where he's starting off from. It's never been easier to soak up the information, right?
Oh my God, dude. Keith Calfa was at our live event. You were there, and he goes, every time I see these 16-year-old kids and stuff, they're they make $200,000 and they're 17. He's like, I just want to smack them almost and throttle them, because we're not bitter or resentful, but we're so jealous. If I could go back 10 years ago today and have access to what I have available now. I mean, it's the same thing with YouTube. People are 100,000 subscribers. I'm like, dude, lawn care YouTube wasn't even a thing 45 years ago. I don't even know if it still is a thing, but it's just funny. Now these young guys are getting on and they have 20, 30, 40,000 subscribers in 12, 18 months. And I'm like, you do realize you're building your business on the shoulders of giants. And I'm not looking for appreciation or attaboys. I'm just saying dude, we had to cut through the rainforest with with scythes and swords to hack this path down for some of these guys getting started now. And I'm super excited for them. But I'm like, bro, you did in your first year what took me 3.5 years. And then it goes full circle to the 17, 8-year-old kid right now learning this stuff. He's like, yeah, they already have a roadmap. They already have some of the equipment that some of us didn't accumulate till 27 years old. And I'm like, man, good for you guys. I can't wait to have some, young punk kid, punk being a good thing, run up to me at GIE in 3 years and say, yeah, dude, here's me and my foreman and my other, guy. There's 3 of us here, but we have 32 people. And, this year we did 2.1 million and, he's 23 years old. And I'm going to be like, good for you, kid. You're buying lunch, So.
Well, I mean, but he's got that vision. I mean,
absolutely.
He's had that vision sparked in his, some of us when we first started off didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah. Amen.
And
so, well, that goes back to your story then. So you're saying that for your first few years, you were excited about the industry, but not making a ton of money. I feel like a lot of us can echo that.
It's relatively speaking too, because I thought I was making a lot of money, right?
Mm-hmm,
that gross income coming in, we were staying busy. There was definitely demand for our services, and
sure.
And where I'm at, there's always been a slew of competition. Every day you see somebody new, but there's a lot of work to go around. But where I was at is, you're seeing that gross income and you're thinking, man, damn, I'm making a lot of money here. This is really good. But at the end of the year, when you see that there's nothing left, and then it really starts to hit home.
Did you ever have those tough conversations? Was your wife ever not negative?
Oh, yeah.
But was she ever hey, I thought did you ever feel this thing isn't working? I'm not making the money I should be. Did you kind of have some of these tough conversations? Dude, I'm doing all this work. We did $100,000, but we only made 30. You ever have those kind of conversations? No right or wrong answer.
No, I mean, absolutely. Every day we went through some really tough years there. I'm talking years, not, months, where
I feel you.
She totally had lost all hope in me, and as her husband, who's supposed to, support and act as, this not security net, but a good mentor for the family, right?
The breadwinner.
And she had totally lost 100% of that. And as that went on, and I thought, I kept thinking I have to have the right equipment. I have to have brand new equipment. Like at the time, we had, the Laser Z, X Mark, and brand new mowers. I won't even get into all the brands, but we were set up on that side of things. But I obviously I wasn't making any money at the end of the year. So she didn't see it, right? At that time, she wasn't involved in the business at all, and she couldn't see it. She couldn't wrap her head around it because what she saw was literally nothing coming in. At that time, I wasn't, bringing home a salary or anything like that. And for her to keep the spark alive, like I was, it just wasn't there. And then obviously that caused a lot of issues in our family and in our marriage and all that. So,
well, and especially like when you're taking 4 months off in the winter sitting around and like you didn't make any money for the other 8 months, right? Man, I'll tell you what, like you guys, some of you know, some of you don't know. And if you don't know, that's great. God bless you guys. Again, learn from our mistakes. But there's been so many times where I didn't have any money in the bank. I'm sitting around and the wife is like,
and you're literally faking it. I mean, like I had a shop at the time, and like I said, I kind of started off all in completely. And we had a really nice shop. And next to that shop was like this guy, a good buddy of mine that worked on boats. He repaired boats. So
sure.
In the wintertime, she's always worked Monday through Thursday, but in the wintertime, if it was Friday or something, and I knew we didn't have anything to be doing, dude, I was hanging out at the shop. We were all hanging out and partaking and drinking beer and all that. And I'll be totally blunt, kind of fell into the wrong, slew of friends that, you are the average of the company you keep, right? And at the time, and just, it was what it was. I didn't know any different, but yeah, in the wintertime, we were hanging out, man. And it got to the point where that's kind of what we did every day. Even in the summertime, we hung out. We'd go get some jobs done and just hang out. I had a guy working for me at the time that was my right-hand man, my best friend, Todd, and every day was just a ball, so there wasn't as much time put into actually understanding the business and what it took. And it took like that, they say like that, the rock bottom thing, that was
Jesus.
definitely,
yeah. Well, here's one thing I'll tell you guys if you're listening in, like, listen to what Mike is saying because it's powerful, and I've been there many years too. Like if you finish up your season, let me think how I'm going to articulate this. If you finish up your season and you want to take 4 months off because you think you earned it, that's one thing. But if you have zero money in the bank, you did not earn it. All you did was be busy for 7 or 8 months. And here's what I'll say. If you also look back and you just finished up your season and you have $50,000, $70,000, $80,000 in the bank, you know what? Then you can have that conversation with your wife that you want to take it easy for 3 months. But,
right, and she'll be more understanding with it.
Yeah, dude, for sure. But just because you finished the season, it doesn't mean you finished the business. It doesn't mean you did a good job. Like just because you started in March and you finished in November or December, it didn't mean you had a great year. It just because you finished the year, like, oh, got another season under our belt. So what?
Well, not only that, the winter time, or your off season in general is the absolute best time to put the work in on your business and figure out how you can, make that well-oiled machine run even better. I mean, that's what I found. Now the winters, I mean, I don't even know, like March will hit and I'll be like, holy crap, where'd winter go? We're still putting in the work,
Well, and I look at all of winter. Now we do snow up here in the Midwest for a lot of us, but you get those snowstorms happen every 2 weeks. And even if you're salting, you still get, every 3 or 4 days you salt, but there's 10 times more time typically. Well, I'd say there's 50% more time in the winter than it is in the summer with being able to breathe and like catch your breath and catch your stride. But that doesn't mean you get to just, like you said, go hunting with the boys, go deer hunting, just take time off because you deserved it. No. Like if you get $80,000 that you cleaned up this year on your business, great. Or $200,000 or $500,000, like that's a successful year. Go ahead, take 3 months off. But if not, you need to get your big boy pants on, bro. Sit down with a pen and paper. Sit down with your CPA. Sit down with your accountant. Sit down with somebody that can be an accountability partner or a business coach and say, dude, I just did $150,000 in revenue, $500,000 in revenue. I only made $40,000. Like that might not be the best profit margin running a 9 or 10% profit margin. Now I'm not getting your guys' face. I'm just telling you, let's just talk. Let's just have these honest conversations because if we don't, again, nobody gets better. Right.
And and then look at it. The average Joe that's out there doing the same thing we are, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So what a great opportunity to take a leap forward and win in the next season to, take that opportunity in the wintertime when everybody else is just fluffing off,
Yeah. Well, and that's
sitting
why
around watching, Netflix and chill, that's the time to take a leap forward.
That's the time. That's the time to put your business under the microscope. I mean, I look at our P&Ls, our numbers, or this or that. I get dinners with Bedell more often because we can. One thing too, people are like, well, why don't you do your Entrepreneur Academy in March? I go, you don't have enough time to implement the changes that you're going to learn from our live event in March when the season starts in April. Like, there's not enough time in the world. Like, if you come to our live event in November, now you can take the 3-4 months off and retool, refocus, regroup, and then you parlay into the 2021 season, for example, that we're going into. But that's why I wanted to do the event in the fall so we can all line up for spring. And little plug there for Entrepreneur Academy, of course. But it's just like I don't take the winter off. If anything, I like work in different capacities, but I work harder on the business than in the business, as we say, because it's hard for me to navigate both while I'm in the thick, but so you had these, what was it? Just like this realization maybe after 4 or 5 years in the business that things weren't right.
Yeah.
It sounds like you got things going on today. So is that
yeah,
how
I'm
it comes
talking
full
about
circle?
the Entrepreneur Academy there. When I went last year, honestly didn't know what it was going to be about, but I knew I had to get in the room with the right people. Right. And that's all I focused on for the past several years is just, being around people with a similar mindset of your own, if not greater, and you are the average of the company you keep. I keep saying that, but, I was hanging out with these guys, boat mechanics, whatever, and I love them to pieces still, but they weren't going to help me get to the next level.
Probably not.
And I had to work my way out of there. Like Todd ended up leaving because I actually started to get more serious with the business. And it was no longer fun or as fun, and so he had some health implications and all that too. So
right.
At that time was right at the brink of where I was getting ready to hit the rock bottom type scenario. But when Todd left the next year, I had the biggest growth year I had ever had. And also realized at the same time, I'm out here with 10 employees and all this, but towards the end of the year, you realize, what the hell is that all worth it for?
Right.
So much stress, running these guys, making sure the schedule's staying full, making sure you're still meeting with clients, selling jobs, putting out the fires with the HOAs and all that, because when you hire this amount of guys and you're not used to it, there's going to be fires to put out. There's going to be guys that work for you that just don't give a crap, and you don't realize what it all takes to that goes into that. So I kind of jumped in head first, knowing that I had to make more money and thinking that growing was the only way that was going to be possible. And with where I'm at now, that's no further from the truth, but where I was at then, I thought that was what it was. So I purchased more trucks, purchased more equipment. You can see where it's going. And that winter, had no money left over after paying out the butt in payroll and all that and workman's comp and everything that goes into it, and still not knowing my numbers. And there was a time, it was like February, and I just purchased, super nice truck, brand new, 1-ton diesel with the dump bed on it, crew cab, and inside totally decked out. I mean, the ultimate truck, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, oh yeah, I deserve this truck. This is what I need to make the business run smoother. And the $1,000 a month payment, no big deal.
You justify it, Yeah, I hear you. We've all done it. If you don't, you're lying too.
Yeah. But in the meantime, I stuck at paying my bills, and I'm racking up credit cards and all this. And there was one day where we get home, and I think I picked up my kids or something, and I got home, and we couldn't get in the garage door, which is our only way to get in the garage, was through the keypad or the door opener. It wasn't working. So I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And then I go around to the doors; they're all locked, and I obviously don't have a key on me to get into the house. And then my wife gets home shortly after me, and she's like, "What's going on?" And long story short, I had forgotten to pay the electricity bill.
Wow!
I had forgotten, and also really, was struggling to be able to make that payment.
Wow!
Along with all the other credit card payments and all these payments I had, the infamous Sheffield loans and all this crap.
Oh yeah.
And in February, when you're really struggling, just you want the season to start back up. Anyways, the funds had depleted, and my business, I just wasn't in the right mindset. So that was definitely rock bottom. I could have probably made that couple $100, payment on the electricity bill, and I did, obviously, the next day.
Right.
But going all night because they'd taken the meter out of the box, right?
Wow.
And going all night, had to run the generator. How embarrassing, all your neighbors, hear the generator running. They're like, oh, well, Gunn didn't pay his electricity bill,
Yeah. No, but dude,
but, and we're at a fairly nice house, right? And a nice area, and then just what humility,
dude, and here's the bottom line, bro. Like we share these stories with you guys, like not to scare you, but to just like, I appreciate the humility and the transparency, bro. Cause, this is real life. I mean, like this podcast, it's hopefully it's fun. Hopefully it's entertaining. Hopefully it's some good mind food to keep you guys, your mind, focused on the business, but at least you can listen to something while, passively while you guys are mowing grass. Some of you guys are probably laying stripes right now because Lord knows I always am when I'm listening to Paul's podcast. But we share these stories as, just a warning, like a, what do they say? Like if if a bullet comes at you and you hear the zing, like they were shooting, by you, if you hear one on the helmet, like they're shooting at you, we don't want to see like your friend get taken out, because if he gets taken out, like you're probably next. And we share these stories to just try to provide a little bit of insight to help you guys. Cause bro, like the lights going on, getting taken off, and the meter getting taken out, like those are real conversations and pains that now you're putting your wife through. And then I'm not, slamming you or putting an indictment on you, because Lord knows I've done the exact same thing, bro. Like it was matter of fact, I ran my business model where until I got into commercial snow, and this is why I went into plowing and I went all in, because I wanted that year-round income. It was, my business model was save my pennies until November, have that, little extra fund, but that fund was always a fifth of what it needed to be, because I would, hashtag Amazon and just, Amazon, or go hanging out, or I'm going to go visit a friend, and, you go to dinner and it's $100 that you shouldn't be spending on, but you don't want to throttle your lifestyle down to 20% of what it was in the 4 months. And so, it was so matter of fact for me to rack up $5,000 on a credit card. I didn't even think about it. Like, I when we were getting out of debt, Liz like, what's up with this $5,000? I go, well, that's the $5,000 that we put on every winter. And we did this for like 2-3 years. And she knew, but she didn't know, but she knew. And she's like, this isn't sustainable. She goes, no business like operates like this. And I'm like, yeah, they do. And then, because you justify.
Well, behind every good man's a great wife, right? And you may not tell them everything in the book just because you don't want to stress them out, but they may act like they don't know, but they know. They know what's going on. They're smarter than we are.
Yeah, and the other lie was I'm sitting around doing nothing and I'm accepting it. Like that was, again, I'm not getting you guys' face. I'm not making an indictment on you. This was me. Like I had to own up, bro. I'm sitting around for 4 months doing nothing, racking up a credit card like it's normal. Oh, because I'm going to, take care of it in the spring. And I deserve to rest. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, I did not. Back then, I did not deserve to rest. I was not thinking. I was not putting my feet to the fire, and that wasn't acceptable. Like, so people are gonna ask, well, what do you do? I don't know. Get creative. Go do construction. Go work, like you said, plowing snow. Go do leaf cleanups and go remove trees. I don't know. Go figure it out. But a guy I listened to once, he said, there's no problem that sustained thought can't overcome. So if you're not making money, or your bills aren't being paid, or your wife is a little pissed off at you, there's probably a good reason, and bro, I appreciate the transparency of you sharing some of these stories, because these are helpful stories that help these guys grow.
And that's the reason. I feel like if I hope I can speak to somebody who may be going going through what I was going through then. Like, because we were in the wintertime, we were plowing snow and all that too. But and when I started plowing snow, even in business for myself, I always worked under another big company here in town to really get an understanding for business before I ventured out and started getting my own contracts. Plus, with snow, there's a lot of liability. A lot of liability.
Yep.
And I had the awesome equipment, but had no understanding of everything it took to go into it. Now, like I know probably the same for you. Last couple of winters here, literally nothing. Like, fortunately, I've got several contracts where there's zero tolerance, and we do the salting for them, and that's what's carried us through. As far as now, like I look at snow removal, I don't bank on it whatsoever, but I look at it to keep my guys busy,
sure,
to get them some income in the wintertime and kind of keep them sane to get them through.
Dude, that's so good. Like we talk about this on one of my videos. It was titled "How to Not Go Broke Doing Snow." And I talked about how I do residential prepays, commercial per push. Some guys that do the opposite. It's residential per push and commercial prepays. Look,
Right.
There's no right or wrong answer necessarily with snow. The wrong answer is you go out of business. The right answer is you're profitable. Now,
Yeah.
how you do that, there's, the Plinko chip. There's 3 or 4 ways to approach that. But man, I'll tell you what, like people are like, well, because Mike, my residential is all prepay and my commercial is per push. And people are like, well, you can make so much money per push on your residentials with different tiers and different pricing. And I go, sure.
Yeah, when you push.
When you push.
when it happens.
You get a winter like we just had. I had 1 push in December, 1 push in November, 1 push in January. We had a great February, like 7 or 8 pushes. Nothing in March. And so you go make $1,100 or $2,000 only in December, only 2 G's in January, only 2 G's in whatever December. Like that ain't gonna keep. That's not gonna even pay payroll or taxes or fuel or insurance. Like that doesn't add up. So people are like, well, you can make more money doing this. And I go, oh, okay, they're like Mr. Theoretical. Like I run the company. It's my business, not your business, my business. And if you want the upside, I'm not telling you not to take the upside, doing it per push. But for me, I know my limits. I know my mentality. I know my frame of mind. I know what me and my wife are willing to commit to with risk and exposure. And sometimes we want to take risks and sometimes we don't. We want to build a home. We're going to take on a lot of debt. When we run the business, there's certain things we don't want to do, and that's fine. But you have to be tied in with your wife. See how it just all goes full circle, bro. Like you're so right about how the snow game works. It's
well, I mean, it's not all unicorns and fairy tales, right? I mean, with every single risk you take on, yeah, there's going to be that thrill of it, but all the things that go behind the scenes, I mean, it's not as great as it looks, right, on camera or whatever. But with the snow removal, like I would highly suggest if anybody's getting into that game, for what worked for me was working for the other guys and just being a subcontractor. And fortunately, in my area, and I still give work to this company, but they're really, really Christian-based company, just awesome group to work for. And every 2 weeks they'd write you a check for whatever you did, and they were on the money with that. Now, absolutely, I know working for some guys, you really got to be a good judge in who you work for because they'll hold out for 90 days until they get paid.
Amen.
So it's a fine line there, but it's a great opportunity to gain the skills and really see what goes into it, because 2014 was 13-14 was a really rough winter as far as snow goes, and we'd be out for 40 hours straight, just guzzling back the Red Bulls and just trying to stay awake. But when you're working for another company making $70, $90 an hour, whatever it may be in your area, to me at the time that was a great source of income in the wintertime, when we really needed it.
Amen. And Mike, I get some guys that email me, they're like, well, I don't want to subcontract for somebody because they think they're an employee again. And I'm like, no, bro, like you have a contract, you have obligations, and imagine like it's your client. Take care of that client. If you're subcontracting, do a damn good job. Like,
and you don't have the headache of the back end of it too. Yeah. Dude, there's a lot of guys in my area, that's all they do is subcontract for the big companies, and they've made a living out of them. Some of these guys are 60, years old, and that's all they've ever done. There's no lettering on the truck or whatever, but they discovered early on that they're not committed to the books side of things. They don't want to run a business. They just want to work for themselves, basically the employee without a boss, and that's what works for them. Well, there's benefits to that as well.
Well, plowing snow, like you said, dude, I mean, I enjoy this topic because plowing snow, and we're going to do more snow plowing podcasts as we get towards fall, but plowing snow, you hit the nail on the head. Like subcontracting, I know Bedell's subcontracted for a couple great companies local to us. Paul just did a great interview with Troy Clark. We're going to get Troy on the show here in the next few weeks. Troy's got like 400 trucks, and I couldn't even imagine how many subcontractors, and they have a whole subcontractor day. They open up the whole facility, his main headquarters that I've done a YouTube video on. And if you want to be a subcontractor, it is like snow subcontractor day. Like they open up the place, there's food, there's cookies, there's hot dogs, and you go in there for a couple hours. You get the network, where you at, where's your route. It's something I might even look at more because I could double my snow game. And subcontracting at $75 or $100 an hour, or somewhere in that range, can really, really bridge the gap for income if it's your first or second year doing snow. Absolutely, bro. Like keeping that revenue coming in is so huge.
And these guys that do subcontract out the work, I mean, look at how smart they are, because how hard it is on your truck, and the equipment, the salt, and then the
Sure.
you know, plowing snow. There's nothing harder on your truck than that, right? And you can you can go out there and plow that snow and make that dough. But you can also go out there, plow that snow and spin that dough too. If you're out there breaking crap too. So like for these guys to subcontract out all their plowing, and like a lot of them, like when I was working for this group, they did all their own in-house salting and treating, right? So they would supply, and if you did the sidewalk, they'd supply you with the ice melt or whatever.
Yep.
But you're out there beating your truck up, and they're glad to pay you, $75, $80 an hour or whatever, because that's less headache on them, right? And if you don't show up, they all had, they had the managers that would drive around. They'd all have plows on their trucks and spreaders on the back, just in case, you didn't get out of bed at 2 a.m. and get out there and get it done. Yeah. And they would then take care of it. But man, what a smart business model. I really look up to those guys.
Well, I mean, and people, Paul was interviewing Troy, and Troy's got 400 trucks, and I don't know how many active, but it's a couple hundred of that 400, obviously. But I know Bedell, he's subcontracted. I haven't done any subcontracting work for Troy. That might change. I don't know. Because I'm not opposed to making more money in the winter, because I don't like sitting around just like you guys. As much as I have going on, I've got downtime, and I'm like, man, I want to be making $100 an hour, $50. I love working, and I'm just that guy. But people are like, well, how can Troy find people and I can't find people? Well, maybe because you don't pay your people on time. Maybe you don't pay your people a premium rate. Like Troy, you do work and you cash out, I think it's weekly or bi-weekly. And as long as you submit your paperwork on their LMN software, like, bro, you get a check. Like Troy's like, we don't mess around. We pay our people. We pay our people good. We pay them on time. So just vet. I like what you said there about vetting, because subcontracting for other property management companies might not be a good route. I mean, just go to Facebook, go to Google, go to forums, ask your buddies, hey, does this company pay? Like that Christian company that you said, that just seems like a stand-up outfit. Like, vet if you're going to subcontract, because I think that's incredibly important,
Well, yeah, and they realize that, right? They've got, it's like the saying I always say at the end of all my videos: take care of the things that take care of you, right? Your
like
equipment, but your employees too, and your subcontractors. I mean, these guys are out there busting their butt for your business, and if the better you take care of them, the better they're going to take care of you.
Dude, that's huge, bro.
It goes hand in hand.
Bro, this has been good. I think we're going to probably button it up here, because we're at 1 hour and 10. I like to keep them around an hour, and just not to take your whole dang morning too. We're actually recording this on a Sunday morning. This doesn't work for me. Like, we're just hanging out and talking.
This is our church, man.
This is what we do. This is my outreach. I'm trying to help all these guys, help make sure that you guys aren't, your wives aren't pissed off at you. Amen. So, because Lord knows I've had the eye rolls about 200 times, and man, you just feel like a squid. But I'm like, hey, your wife gets pretty excited when you got 15, 18 grand coming in a month, and your expenses are a fraction of that, and you're just banking and banking and banking. Like you said, Mike, your wife can get on board if you start making profit. Funny how that works with women. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
They like that security mindset. The security is was a Latin word for making money, bro. Like if you're being a schlep and you're like, your life is unhappy, might be predicated on how much money you're making. I've noticed.
Hey, take care of the things that take care of you, right? You're not taking care of her.
Amen. Yeah, and if she's your number one priority, you owe it to her, to yourself, to figure it out, man. Come on, guys.
Absolutely.
We're all in this together, and that's why we got these training programs and these YouTube videos and this podcast. Like, I want to see you guys make gobs of money, bro. I want you to be the most profitable company in your area. I want you to have the leg up for the other guy who's not taking the podcast serious or not taking the YouTube video serious. And he's like, oh, Brian's just, making likes and views and subs. That's cool. But for some of us, when you're banking 20 grand a month, it feels good. It feels good when you can go pay cash for a four-wheeler instead of financing it for, they do like the how many months would you like the finances for? We've got the 24 at 4.9, we've got the 36 at 7.9, and you're like, I want to do the Chinese payment plan. Mike, you ever heard of the Chinese payment plan? Do you know what that is? That's the one sum down, and so that's where you just write a check for 9 grand and the ATV is paid for. That's the stuff that gets me excited. For you guys, for me, I'm in business too, guys. We want to make money. We want to be as profitable. I love when Paul gets all excited about making profit. I think Paul is just, he's so giddy and excited. He's like, let's make some money. Let's make that dough. And when he says that on his podcast, I get all charged up and I start like fist pumping outside like he does, and some of you guys listen to this, you're probably nodding your head. We've all been smiling on the mower or crying on the lawnmowers because, we just get so excited about this, freaking industry. So, dude, let me do this. As we wrap this up, I definitely want to get you on for a part 2 because there's so much more that we could go into, like you were alluding to with equipment and how your business has grown and where you guys are at today. I always tell these podcasts, all the guests, that these things turn into like a time warp, like an hour.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, like you do podcasting, so you know how this works. An hour turns into, it feels like 10 minutes. And then you look down at your phone, you're like, dude, it's already noon. Like we gotta.
Well, yeah. And like right now where I'm at, it's like, in the military, when you go through boot camp, they tear you down before they build you back up. They tear you down to the ground. Right.
Yep.
And right now, I'm tore down to the ground. I spilled the beans, and so but now, right now, where I'm at now, obviously, I'm not in the same place. But the story from there on out is even more inspiring, I believe. So.
Well, have you had the breakthrough that you've been looking for and seeking out that last 4 or 5 years? Have you guys turned the corner? That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's what I
want.
want.
What a difference it makes on your business, on the people that work with you, and on your marriage and everything else. And in your customers as well. It's so important to, when you first start off, and shout out here to Jesse James. I've been helping him and mentoring him through his first year in business here.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, dude, how do you find these customers that care so much about you? I was sharing a story the other day about a client that called me. I've worked for 9 years, and she understands that I get it, but she's like, look, I just want to remind you that I don't care what the price is. I just want perfection. 100% all the time.
I love it.
And, that was clear. The message was clear, but finding those customers that care about you and your business, and like what you were saying earlier, that they see the video or the Instagram plug, it's their backyard, striping it up or whatever. But those customers, if they actually care about you and your business, I mean, they're all in with you and your business as well. And, finding those customers, and you'll know it, you'll know that, when you get a coupon shopper in there that just wants the best price and goes with Joe Blow down the road because he's $10 cheaper, and he'll do that whole half drawn horse thing, where the horse is like perfect up on the head and then force the back into the horse is half drawn,
Yep.
And then they'll come back to you, but finding those customers that are, completely 100% in, and they understand that you've got a family to feed as well and a business to run and all the overhead behind it, and they're backing you 100%. That's where it's at. And your first year in, no, you probably won't have that. 90% of your customers will be the coupon shoppers or whatever. But as you grow, take care of the things that take care of you. And the better you take care of your clients and the more they take care of you, you'll find that relationship and that bond. And that's where I'm at now, is like, I have this friendship, my customers are family. And when I get those phone calls, like, look, I'm just reminding you, I don't care what the price is. I just want perfection. That's awesome, because she's supporting my business, but I'm also supporting the fact that I understand, that her yard is her image, and she wants absolute perfection all the time. And that's what we've come to now. And that's what I've realized in the past, even year or so, that that's the direction we want to take.
Man, that's good stuff, bro. I'm just letting you talk and listen, because I'm like, this is good. I love it when you guys get rolling and ranting too, because I want to.
I could go on for another 5 hours.
Dude, we really are going to shoot another episode, because let's do this, because let's button it up with this. Plug your socials, and then where people can find you on Instagram, YouTube, and then your podcast, because I know you're working on that, and that's like a new hobby of yours as well. So where can people find if they want to learn more? And then 100%, if you're open to it, dude, I'd love to invite you to do a part 2. We'll catch up in a few weeks once you catch your breath, and we'll do a part 2. If you guys want to see it a part 2, share this episode on Instagram, tag both Mike and I, and say, if you want an encore, you got to title it encore, because I want to know the part 2, the breakthrough. That's what we're always looking for,
Well, it's an ever evolving story too, right? We're never perfect. We're always learning, and
amen.
Got to stay humble with that fact. But
yeah,
absolutely excited too, brother. Excited too. You can reach out, Instagram, Get It Done With Gunn. I'll be honest, Brian knows this from yesterday when we were messaging. I'm still learning that platform, but I love it. And YouTube, Get It Done With Gunn, Gunn, 2 N's there. Gunn is in like bang bang,
Bang bang.
And then my business is gunlandscaping.com. I'm on Facebook too, but honestly, not the best way to reach me.
Yeah.
And then let's see what else. The podcast. So Lawn Care Community is the name of the podcast, and I'll be honest with you, I'm 100% focused on my business right now, being in the busy season, and dabbling with the podcast. But this winter, I really hope to plug more into that and put more effort in there, and really just it's going on the caveat of just spilling the beans about my experiences that I've learned in business, and interviewing other folks, just like you are on here, and trying to share that message of like, look, we get it, we understand what you're going through. Here's some things to help, and I believe if we all just share a little bit more about our businesses and all that, it's only going to help out the entire industry as a whole, because there's so many guys out there that don't understand, or maybe they don't know about this community on YouTube and Instagram and all that, because we're just scratching the surface as far as the people that are actually in this industry.
Amen. Amen.
Out there getting it done and working, so if we can spread the word, that's only going to help all of us out, because maybe they're only charging $20 when they don't understand the fact that they can be charging $40, for any given service. So,
amen.
If we can help everybody else out to understand more knowledge and be able to charge a little bit more, right? It's going to help us out as well. And it's a win-win for everybody.
Dude, I love it, bro. I always appreciate when people share the podcast on their Instagram or to another lawn bro. I had a guy I was talking to just the other day on a coaching call. He hired a new guy, and he's like, they're both like 30, and he hired a guy that was working for him just to bridge the gap. Other guy had lost his job. And so he's the trimmer guy, right? And he said, dude, you need to listen to this Fullerton Unfiltered podcast where we both mow lawns. I know you're only my employee. I know you're just working for me, part-time. But I need you to think how I think, this guy's saying this to run the landscaping business. Because if your if your employees are trying to run a profitable company with you, instead of, like you said, getting both horses on the same side of the cart. So like he didn't like mandate to his employee, but he was like, dude, you got to listen to this guy. Like, this is how we do our business. This is what we're trying to accomplish. If I'm profitable, I can pay you and pay you more. And his employee was like, yeah, sure, dude, I'll check it out. I'm always open to like, good business stuff and entrepreneurship stuff. And,
and we're all a team, right? It's like I tell my guys, I'm not your boss. We're a team here. We're all in this for the same end result.
Amen.
The better the business does, the better you do.
Yeah.
I have your podcast on in the truck and stuff. And whether we're, chattering or listening or whatever, I try to share that information, because these guys, they're just breaking into it as well. Yep. And, for them, it's maybe a 9-to-5 job or whatever, where they can go home and just collect a paycheck. But if you add that inspiration in there and get them to understand the greater picture, they're going to be they're going to be all in as well, which is only going to help.
Dude, I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, exactly, dude. And it goes to his employee. His employee was like, dude, because this is actually like a lot cooler than I thought. Like, he's like, I'm really glad he showed me this, because it's like we're like a rogue podcast. We're not like the Joe Rogan Experience, And he's like, Fullerton Unfiltered, and he's like, dude, just trust me. And I'm like, and that's what I'm always like, hey, we're in the top 40. We're hanging with Paul, which is really cool. Paul's in the top 40. He was like 37 the other day, or 41, and so like Paul's like trying to catch me. I'm like, yeah. More like the other way around, bro. I'm trying to catch you. But that's the thing. Like, we're not this like flashy, like Rolls Royce, loud Ferrari going down the road. The Gary V audio experience. We're Brian Fullerton and the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, starring all of you, and we're gonna Forrest Gump our way to the top 25 podcasts, and we're cracking the top 250 of all business podcasts. Not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, we're in like the top 40, 50, but we're in like 247 of top business. So like, I think there's 700,000 podcasts I heard that are like started per year or something like that. And I don't know how many total podcasts, but I bet you there's a million out there.
Oh yeah.
But for your boy here to be in the top 250, representing you guys in like this industry, man, like what a win for all of us. What a win for the big team, like in the community. And I love how your podcast is the Lawn Care Community Podcast. Like that is huge. And dude, you need to get on that thing so you can start doing some more solo episodes, even just get your story out. Cause I'm sure a bunch of guys are going to follow over to you and they want to hear your story and how you had your breakthrough. So this is,
yeah, absolutely. And the Lawn Care Community, that name, it came from, my inspiration that I've gained in my life from the Lawn Care Community on
Amen.
YouTube and all that. And so it's just more of that brand name, just to give back to the community that's helped me out, helped me get through some crap times, because I'm better, for it now. So I'm happy to help anybody out. I love it. It's what adds more inspiration to my life now, and really, like, when I help these guys out like you, it's like you don't realize how much knowledge you do have in your brain until people start asking questions. You're like, holy crap. Yeah. For me, that's nothing, but if I can help you out with it, I didn't realize that there was a need out there for that information, so it's awesome to be able to share that.
Amen, bro. I was talking to Kyle Parks the other day, and he's like, how did you know this stuff? I'm like, I don't know. I just went through the same crap for 10 years in a row before somebody ever told me.
Yeah, you don't think twice about it, right?
Amen, dude. So we can talk forever about all this kind of content, which is just, again, if you guys keep listening, we'll keep making the content. What did Paul say? If you build it, they will listen. That was his God moment for him to start his podcast. And man, just such good times. Well, hey, Mike, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday morning away from you, your personal obligations, your family, and taking time to pour back into these guys. Guys, if you appreciate everything that Mike got to share in this episode, do us a big solid. Leave us a 5-star rating. Leave us a review, a couple sentence review. Give it some social proof. Let other lawn guys and lawn bros that find the podcast that are just swiping around and trying to find great content out there, let them know that this podcast is helping you. And by doing so, it can help them. Like I'm a big team player. If the community grows, the industry grows, we all grow together. But also shoot Mike an Instagram message. It's get it done with Gunn on Instagram. Say, hey, dude, thanks for taking time to do this episode. Love the transparency. Just shoot him a couple of encouraging words and messages, because it does go a long way. And we always we don't live for the feedback, but we really appreciate the feedback. We're human, and we like it when we hear that this stuff is helping you guys out and growing your business, and you get a tangible breakthrough. So, Mike, thanks so much again for being on the show, brother. This was really, really good. I really appreciate your time.
Hey, I appreciate being on, man. It's been awesome.
Awesome, man. All right, guys. Well, hey, that's it for this episode of Fullerton Unfiltered. We can't wait to catch up with you guys on the next one. That's it. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.